So here we go. Hello everybody. It's wonderful to be with you all again. Let's see. Next stream is going to be on Thursday, which will be the 10th of July. My time is moving on at 3:30. That's really good to know, Renyard. I'm sure it's really hot. Hi Oksana, lovely to see you. So let's see. Hi to Julia, hi to Manisco, hi to Oksana, hi to Patricia, hi to Renyard, hi to Vitali, and hi to Oksana. So, okay, let's get on with this. This was about these fake Hitler diaries and this forger who wasn't actually very good. And Yuri, lovely to see you. Okay, so the forger, I think this is the forger. He was arrested by the police and acknowledged, accepted, admitted, recognized, conceded his role in the hoax. Admitted, says Julia. Admitted, says Vitali. Conceded. Wow, thank you, Maurits. That's really generous of you. Lovely to have you again, Maurits. Lovely to see you. And conceded too. No, you can't put the two with conceded. Oksana, and conceded his role in the hoax, and recognized his role in the hoax, and admitted, says Patricia. Hello, Maurits, that's really kind of you, thank you. Okay, so, and yes, you're admitted here, definitely. Okay, so to admit someone to a place, but to admit to doing something. Accepted to, not possible. Acknowledged to, not possible. Admitted, yes. To fess up. He conceded that. He conceded his role. Yeah. Acknowledged to, no acknowledge. It's got to be admitted to. Admitted to his role. Let's see if I can get this right. Admitted to. Yes, that's better. Admit for playing a role somewhere else. To concede something to someone. Yes. Okay, yes, Yuri. So, can we say admit for playing a role somewhere else? I don't think so, Renyard. To admit is either to be allowed in, as in Yuri says, "Am I admitted here?" And admit to is say, "I am responsible. I did it." Fess up, to admit to something especially considered wrong. Very good. So let's go for the next. He even went so long as to, so far as to, so afar as to, so away as to, so afield as to demonstrate his guilt by writing his confession in the style of Hitler's handwriting. Okay, so far for Vitali, far for Maurits, far for Julia, far for Renyard, far for Manisco. So far, good. So far as to, so far for Yuri, so far for Patricia, so far for Oksana as well. So he went so far as to admit to demonstrate his guilt. So he went to the extreme of doing something. He went so afar, no, so long, no. So, let's see, far afield. Far afield, I had to look far afield for this product. so away. He went to the extent of good one, Patricia. So he went so far, so good. He went so far as to take off all his clothes, for example. Okay, so in 1985, he was declared, deemed, found, acknowledged, certified guilty of fraud and forgery and sentenced to 4.5 years in prison. Found, says Oksana. Found says, wow, Maurits, thank you again. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's really kind of you. So, found. So, found for Oksana, Vitali and Yuri. Found guilty, says Renyard. Found, says Julia. Found, says Leonette. Welcome, Leonette. Found, says Maurits. Found, says Patricia. Found, says Usama. Welcome, Usama Malik. Welcome. Thank you again, Maurits. That really is so terribly kind of you. Yes. It really is. Okay, let's see. So, to find somebody guilty of something, to be found guilty of something, yeah? I guess he could be declared guilty, but best answer is found by a long way. Deemed guilty. I guess he was deemed guilty by public opinion. Claimed, no. Acknowledged, no. Certified. Found guilty. To be found guilty of. Whoops. This only just fits. Let me reduce the size. 28. That'll do. On further... wait a second. On further investigation... Hey, thank you, Maurits. Really, thank you, thank you. Okay, on further investigation, the police found Heidemann had also inflated the prices he said his source was requesting for the diaries, and had been draining, milking, drawing, bleeding, extracting, skimming money off the top of the sums paid by Stern. He was pronounced guilty, very definitely. Pronounced is a good word. Hi, Jivisan. So, Jivi. Welcome, Jivi. Great to have you. So, Vitali says milking. Skimming, says Oksana. Milking, says Renyard. So, and had been draining, milking, drawing, bleeding, extracting, skimming money off the top of the sums paid by Stern. Patricia says skimming. Osama says draining. Julia says skimming. Patricia says a wild bet. Maurits says skimming. Guess extracting or drawing could work too. Bleeding dry. Normally you bleed someone dry, yes. Although you could bleed air off a radiator. Hi Tsakane, lovely to see you. Drawing money off the top. He was convicted of fraud, etc. Okay, let's see. Draining money off the top works. Milking money off the top works. Drawing money off the top works. Bleeding money off the top, just about. Normally bleed someone dry. Extracting money off the top, it works. Skimming money off the top, it works. Manisco says skimming. Normally milking is something that you do over a long time, and he had been doing this, but notice, why off the top? Skimming is used here. Let's see, he had been milking money from the sums paid. It could be, but to skim money off, to skimming off the top is taking some off the top. I think they all work, but I think skimming, because it's off the top. I think my second choice would be milking. Had been milking money off the top of, milking money from the sums paid by Stern. To skim is to take off the top. Skimmed milk, you skim the surface. You're taking something off the top, and the reason is for that off the top. I think milking would certainly work as well. Okay, and he seems to have done this to fund his lavish lifestyle. The sustenance, upkeep, subsistence, attention of his Nazi yacht, and his penchant for buying ever more dictators' memorabilia. He would later claim to possess Idi Amin's underwear. Grifting money, perfect, Yuri. Draining. It works, Leonette, but you're skimming money off the top. Yeah? He's taking a bit off the top each time. One day a lecturer was so mad she said, "You're supposed to be the creme de la creme, not just the skimmed milk." Okay, so Oksana says sustenance. Vitali says upkeep. Maurits goes for upkeep. Maintenance. But maintenance is a good word, Vitali. And a yacht is a very expensive thing to look after. Upkeep for Patricia, upkeep for Julia. A penchant is a something that you enjoy. Very often something that is not so good. So, I don't know, he has a penchant for strawberries. It's something that somebody likes a lot. To be fond of something, to have a penchant for something. Did he have a jet too? Unfortunately not. Okay. Sustenance. It talks about looking after people. If sustenance can cover not food. Sustenance normally covers food, lodging, but sustenance is for people or for animals, to sustain, to keep up. Whereas upkeep is the maintenance. Subsistence is sustenance, but the very, very, very minimum. And attention, no way. It's the upkeep. A penchant, a liking for something. That's a nice, easy way of putting it, Vitali. Let's see sustenance. If you're unemployed, you get in some countries you get money from the government for your sustenance. But sustenance is more about live things. Upkeep is more. It can be for live things, or can also be for the upkeep of a building, the upkeep of your car, the upkeep of of his jet, as Patricia put it. Whoops, this one's too long. He, like Kuja, was convicted in 1985 of fraud and sentenced to 4 years and 8 months. At his trial, Heidemann maintained that he too had been betrayed, victimized, mugged, duped, robbed. But Kujau always insisted that the reporter knew the diaries were fakes. Subsistence farming. A jet is useful, yes. I decided to cut my hair short because the upkeep was too much. Is penchant a formal word or use it in the pub? Penchant, 6.5. So I think if you used it in the pub, you could just about use it in the pub. But it's more on the formal side, Yuri. Roush and welcome, victimized. Porridge doesn't give you much sustenance. Duped, says Oksana. Duped, says Maurits. Okay. Duped, says Julia. To victimize is to make somebody the victim, is always to find somebody to be a person who's always the object of bullying or of bad things. Victimization is where you're always the victim, and he had been victimized. It's possible, but it's not a good answer. Yeah? Betray. To betray is to betray trust, to give away someone's trust. There was just enough money for sustenance, not for her jewellery and clothes. Duped for Renyard, duped for Patricia. Mugged is where somebody comes and hits you over the head while you're walking down the street, or they point a gun at you and they say, give me all your money. Now, mugged is being robbed in the street. Duped is a word that means tricked. Ooh, it's lagging, isn't it? Okay, to dupe somebody, to trick somebody. And to rob, no, but duped is the right word. Victor, lovely to see you. Okay, so to dupe is to trick. In the consequences, fallout, outcome, upshot from the scandal, Lord Dacre's reputation as a historian would be permanently tarnished. It does give you some sustenance, yes it does, because it's got carbohydrates in it. Any dupe is a betrayal. No, because let's see, betrayal is where you give your friends to their enemy. Yeah, and you don't necessarily dupe your friends. To dupe is to trick somebody into believing something that's not true. A betrayal talks about an obligation of trust. Betrayal talks about trust between two people, and then to betray trust. Whereas to dupe is, well, is to trick somebody into believing something. Elizabeth or Mary, yes. Sustenance means food or drink at a strength or nourishment of the maintaining or... Okay, yes, sustenance is to maintain in existence, but at the very lowest level necessary. From the scandal. Don't worry about the from. It's not important, Oksana. In the consequence from the scandal, says Renyard. In the fallout, says Maurits. What's an upshot? An upshot is a consequence. A result. Consequence, says Julia. Hi El Billy, says consequence. Fallout, says Oksana. Hi Anna Ruiz, says fallout. Smash the like, says Julia. So let's see. The consequences from the scandal were that Lord Dacre's reputation was destroyed. For me, the question, Oksana, is this in thee? in the wake of, in the fallout from, says Vitali, in the aftermath of. The outcome from the scandal was that. The upshot of the scandal was that. So, the upshot of the scandal was that. Fallout, says Patricia. But in the outcome, it doesn't work. In the fallout from the scandal, it's got to be fallout. In the fallout from the scandal, his reputation was damaged. Okay? So in the fallout of something, in the aftermath of it, in the wake of it. Oh, I quite like it. During the outcome was that. Koch and the other, the another, others, comma, the others of Stern's editors would lose their jobs, while Giles would be removed from his role as the Sunday Times editor. The upshot of, yes, exactly, Oksana. The upshot of the scandal was. The upshot from the scandal was. Koch and Vitali says. Upshot, the final or eventual outcome or conclusion. Rauschen says the other. Yeah, you got it right. There. Look at this of, Oksana, of Stern's editors. This is really interesting. I'm going to do this question again. Julius, so Anna says other. Julia says the other. Billy says the other. Patricia says another of. Well done, Patricia. Well done, Oksana. It's the only one that fits. I don't trust. And the other, Stern editor. Just the two of them. Yes, no problem, don't trust. So, the other editor, not of. Other of Stern doesn't work. The another, no. Others of, the others of. No, it's got to be another of. Another of. I'm definitely going to do more of these. And another of Stern's editors would lose their job. Another. You were considering upshot. Okay, and Koch and one more got sacked. Not all of them, but these two, yes. Okay. And this is too big as well. It doesn't fit. That's my bad. I should have checked this for size before I went live. Even Murdoch would later claim to the Leveson inquiry into media ethics. That one was easy. Okay. Only you and Oksana got it right, by the way, Patricia. Okay, even Murdoch would later claim to the Leveson inquiry into media ethics in 2012 that his decision to fly, run, sail, flow, roll with the story, was a major mistake I made. I take full responsibility for it, and I will have to live with it for the rest of my life. Run with, says Vitaly. Run with, says Maurice. Run with, says Oksana. Run with, says Julia. Run with, says El Billy. Okay, this one was certainly easy. Okay. To run with, says Patricia. Run, says Anna. Okay, Maurice did as well. Yes, another. Yes, you did get it right eventually. Maurice. Okay, to run with, says Jeevy. Well, okay, to run with it, to run with the story. Perhaps, but it was bloody easy. That's because you do things, you just think what sounds right. Okay, to run with it. Absolutely, to run with it. To use it. However, his newspaper circulation was boosted, amplified, magnified, hoisted by his decision to print the full story. To run with, that's it, Renyard. Okay, however, his newspaper circulation was boosted, amplified, magnified, hoisted by his decision. Boosted, says El Billy. Boosted for Oksana. I chimed in first. I'm sorry. Well, okay. I'm sorry, Vitaly. Well done then. If you started with another, and then you changed your mind. Yes, you did. And then you deleted it and changed it. Boosted, says Don't Trust. Boosted, says Anna. Boosted, says Jeevy. Boosted, says Vitaly. Boosted, says Maurice. Boosted, says Renyard. Boosted, says Julia. Boosted, says Patricia. Okay, very definitely. Normally you amplify sound. Magnify is something that you see. To hoist is to lift up. No, it's boosted, very definitely. Boosted by his decision. And since Murdoch had insisted on a clause that Stern return all the money paid to it by the Sunday Times if the diaries were shown to be fake, the media mogul, magnate, baron, tycoon would only profit financially from the hoax. So, all of these words fit. Tycoon says Don't Trust. Mogul says Manisco. All of these words Mogul says Oksana. Mogul says Vitaly. Tycoon says Anna. I have a first answer, a second answer, and then two more that are certainly okay. Mogul or tycoon, says Maurice, but I think they used mogul. Mogul says Renyard. Tycoon says El Billy. Mogul says Julia. Mogul says Patricia. Mogul says Jeevy. That's very funny. I'm very impressed. Looks like Murdoch is just playing the victim for more emotional impact. I quite agree with you, Oksana. I suspect he knew what he was doing the whole time. And he thought, if this is real, it's great. If this is false, it's great. So Patricia likes magnet. Manu says mogul. Patricia says tycoon. Okay, that's very funny. For me, mogul is the first choice. Although I would say a media baron is probably my second choice. A media tycoon is probably my third choice. So, for example, the Rockefeller was an oil tycoon. Mogul, magnate, and tycoon. Not a magnet, a shipping magnate. Magnet particularly in business. A Hollywood mogul. How can I profit from it anyway? He said, I'm going to win whatever happens. Another, pivoting renders my original comment invalid. So, Rothschild, let's see, Rothschild I would say is a tycoon or a magnet. Kennedy was, I think, probably a magnet. Shipping magnet. Onassis was a shipping magnet. So which of these is Bill Gates? I would say he's probably a tycoon. What does a clause mean anyway? Exactly. A clause is like is one of the terms and conditions in the contract. So, point 1, point 2, point 3, and each of these are a clause in the contract. Okay, let's go forward. So, we finished that one. A problem created for the Rothschild Balfour Declaration. Okay, so beyond words, the 200-year-old hidden languages of dating, and this is the original article. So here we go. From Regency era fan flirting to coded gifts, people have perfected the art of prudently, fastidiously, conservatively, discreetly signalling their love over many centuries. Ah, 30 seconds lags quite a lot, Maurits. Who is a magnet? An oil magnet. Prudently, says Trust. Discreetly, says Oksana and Manu. Discreetly, says Elbili. Discreetly, says Vitali. Discreetly, says Anna. So prudently talks about very carefully. Yeah? Discreetly, prudently, fastidiously, they all work. Yep, they all match, don't. But one of these is better. Discreetly. To be discreet is so that other people don't notice. So discreet for Maurits, discreet for GV as well. Prudently is carefully, fastidiously is very carefully. Conservatively is not flirting at everyone, but discreetly so that nobody else notices. Yeah, they do it discreetly so nobody else notices. White stripes, lovely to see you. I love the next question. Fastidiously, with incredible care. Doing something, making sure that every detail is right, perhaps to a point where you're nitpicking and being a problem. Prudently is more about being aware of dangers, to be prudent, to be careful. Prudent is being careful. Sedulously, meticulously. Discreetly for Patricia. Furtively, says Patricia. sedulously, meticulously. I love them, white stripes. So if you visit the Richelieu wing of the Louvre in Paris, you might meet the gaze, gape, glare, gawp of a former Queen of England. So gaze for Anna, gaze for El Billy. Fastidiously means meticulously, perhaps over meticulously. Too much attention to detail. But yes. Hi Mie. Mie goes for gaze. Julia goes for gaze. Maurits goes for gaze. Julia goes for gaze. Don't trust goes for gaze. GV goes for glare. To meet the gaze, says Manu. Okay, let's see. To gape. With your mouth open. Gaze. Very good, white stripes. To glare. To look angrily. To gawp. Wah. Gawp and gaze are... So gawp and gape are... similar, only gawp is more obvious and more stupidly. Okay, discreetly means that so that nobody else notices, in a way that doesn't attract attention. Thank you, white stripes. So to gaze is to look lovingly. I gazed into her eyes. Gaze. I gaped. And gawp is even worse. You think... what's in the Queen of England's gaze? Gaze seems like white stripes is happy today. But that's the point. This gaze is pronounced the same as gaze. And that's what he's playing with. And to glare, to look angrily. So gaze. Gaze then. It's got to be gaze. Okay, let's try one more. And this is the last one today. Her hands, adorned with expensive rings, are clenched, clasped, are clenched, clasped, grabbed, clinched together. Clasped, says Vitali. Clasped, says Maurits. Clasped, says white stripes. Clasped, says El Billy. Clasped, says Anna. Clasped, says don't trust. Clasped, says GV. Clasped, clasped, says white stripes. Clasped for Julia. Okay, let's see. Class, says Patricia. Clench. To clench is what you do when you really need to go to the toilet and you don't know if you're going to make it or not. To clench is you hold. Clench is to hold your body. To clasp together. Ah, I clasped her hand. To clasp is to hold. To grab is to move and grab. To clinch is a hug where two people clinch. A clinch is where the two lovers clinched and kissed each other. Adorned means to make look beautiful, to decorate. Trying to hold her anger in control. She's trying to use this picture to get Henry VIII to marry her, which is a real mistake. Okay. Clinch is a hug of two lovers. Good, Maurits. Clench when you're about to land a heavy right on someone's face. You clench your fist. To pull together. That's a good word, good one as well. To clench your fist. But if there's no toilet, you've either got to find somewhere to do it or clench. Hey, crack of dawn. Manu, I love it. Okay, a clinch is a hug between two lovers. To grab, to take something rapidly and aggressively. Clinch is love. Clench, to pull tight, but clasped. You clasp your lover's hands. A necklace normally has a clasp which holds the two bits together. The room is adorned with a plethora of decorations. Good, Julia. I've done it again, haven't I? That's it. Clench fist, clasp hands, grab popcorn. Clinch victory. Clench is what you do with your muscles when you're caught short. Yeah? It's to push together. Good, clench your fists and lisps to people that are always hyphen themselves. Okay, that's great. So, I'm going to stop there, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks a lot, but this is what we're going to do next time. And this article, I think, has lots of really good words. I think I'm going to be able to make it really difficult. So, hi there, Mertens. I'm sorry, we've just finished. So, next stream will be on Thursday, the 10th of July at 3:30 p.m. UK time. Thank you for coming, Vitali. I have to do it anywhere before the neighbour's door. Well, you have to clench and hold it till you get to the neighbour's door, Patricia. The pickpocketer grabbed and snatched my handbag while I was crossing the street. Good, Julia. So thank you, a special thank you to Maurits for for his generosity. Okay, it's great to have you. I'm sorry about the timing. The timing can be difficult, Anna. But welcome. It's good to have you this time, Anna. Enjoy your week too, Victor. I'll see you soon, Manu. It's my pleasure, Manisco. So, muchísimas gracias, El Billy. And let's see, participants. Thank you to Anna and Don't Trust and El Billy. Thank you to GV Fan Auka. Thank you to Julia, thank you to Manisco and Manu, thank you to Maurits, and thank you again to Maurits, and thank you again to Maurits. Thank you to Mertens and Mie and Oksana. Thank you to Patricia and Renyard and Victor and Yuri and Vitali and White Stripes. A little stream before her door. Just clench. Pocket your pickers. Pickpockets. So thank you all of you. It's been great. Take care, and I will see you all on Thursday.